Lahat ng tawanan, lahat ng iyong all-time hits. Ang tanging huntahan ng Masang Lamaw. Number 1 sa Mega Manila, nationwide pa. Broadcasting from TGN, TVH Group of Networks. Dito lang sa inyong iisang himpilan. Cool FM. You are listening to Cool FM. Live from Cool Studios. This is Cool News at 4.
Good afternoon. This is Cool News at 4 p.m. I am Esther, and now let's get into the headlines for this hour. Starting with the first headlines, fall armyworms have attacked and destroyed more sugar cane and corn crops in Negros Occidental. The Office of the Professional Agriculturalist said in the June 28 report that the armyworms have now hit 40 barangays in 2 cities and 7 municipalities in Negros Occidental. Nilo Basco Jr., head of the crop protection section of the OPA, said the pests have affected the plants of 663 farmers and destroyed sugarcane and corn crops on 558.23 hectares in Himamaylan City, Alan City, Isabela, Moises Padilla, La Castellana, Murcia, Culayan, Ilok, and Binalbagan. Pasco said the armyworm surfaced after rains started following the long dry season. Armyworms can cause damage to crops through defoliation, to the premature removal of the grassy parts of plants such as leaves. The provincial government has initially allocated $3 million to buy pesticides to curb the spread of the pest. The Philippine Sugar Research Institute, or PhilSurin, said in a statement that the recent infestation of armyworms, locally known as Tacostos, on several fields in southern Negros, calls for greater concern in the sugar industry. This outbreak is not out of mere coincidence, but a result of numerous factors which are chiefly driven by climate change. Several infestation of armyworms usually occurs at the onset of the rainy season after a long dry spell, it said. PhilSurin said the armyworms are one of the most destructive leaf feeders. The armyworm activities are more prominent when nights are warm and debris or cane trash is in the sugarcane fields. Severe infestation in cane usually defoliated standing young cane, leaving only the midribs standing. The key to managing armyworm infestations, it added, is early detection and intervention, as these pests could quickly cause extensive damage if left unchecked. A local businessman alleged to have masterminded the killing of retired Polier Samuel Abdel, a gold binder in Agusan del Sur, was arrested by police on Monday afternoon in Bukidnon. Major Ralph Jetson Perez, police chief of Winawan Town, told J. Solis in a live broadcast over 89.7 XGP-FM radio on Tuesday that Ryan Mark Bailon, president of JB Earth Movers Incorporated, was already in their hands after his arrest in a private resort in Barangay Talahiron of Kipawe Town, Bukidnon. Bailon, a business associate of Adele, is the last of 4 suspects to fall into the hands of authorities. Quezon City Regional Trial Court Branch 85 presiding judge Joyce Illa Calanta ordered his arrest on April 5, along with that of former New People's Army rebel Rosalino de Gracia for the October 26, 2021 ambush of Afdal Rosario Augusta del Sur. De Gracia had surrendered to the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group in Davao City last April. One other suspect, Almar Aguado, had been detained in Bislic City, Surigao del Sur for another murder case. Baylon did not resist arrest when served with the warrant around 5 p.m. on Monday, said Perez, adding that the murder suspect was with female resort workers at the time. From Kipawe, Baylon was brought to Punawan. Perez said the arrest came 26 days after the station received a copy of the warrant from the Quezon City Court. Perez added that Baylon complained about having some abnormal heart rhythm when they arrived at the Punawan police station. On Tuesday, he was escorted for a medical checkup. We are waiting for a commitment order from the judge of Regional Trial Court Branch 85 in Quezon City before we escort him there, Perez said. Afdal, known as Sega Amon Associates, was president of Phil Saga Mining Corp, which extracted gold in a tenement in Rosario. He sold his interest in the company and started a new one, Rosario Manobo Mining Corp. Afdal was driving along an uphill road when ambushed in Barangay Santa Cruz. Although hit, the former soldier managed to drive toward the RMMC base camp and sought help. He was rushed to a local hospital where he later lapsed into a coma and died on November 15, 2021. The indictment against the three accused was based mainly on the confession of former NPA guerrilla Jeffrey Mamerto, the alleged gunman. Mamerto had pointed to Baylon as the mastermind of the kill plot, allegedly offering his former NPA colleagues De Gracia and Aguado 200,000 pesos to do the hit job. Mamerto, in turn, was contracted for 50,000 pesos to pull the trigger against Afdal. Imelda Marcos and her family celebrated her 95th birthday on Tuesday, July 2. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. greeted his father and thanked her for teaching him and his children to be gracious, kind, and compassionate. Happy birthday, Mom. Thank you for teaching me and your grandchildren to be gracious, kind, and compassionate, he said in a Facebook post. First Lady Liza Adriana Marcos also greeted her Mama Meldy, thanking the former First Lady of being her second mother. Thank you for being a second mother to me. You are and always will be my First Lady. Love you, mean it, she said in an Instagram post. Meanwhile, Marcos' older sister, Senator Amy Marcos, described the family matriarch as the epitome of elegance and grace. Happy 95th birthday to the epitome of elegance and grace, the forever First Lady, my mom, Elmelda Romeo Aldes Marcos. The eldest of Emelda's children said in the Facebook post. According to the Presidential Communications Office, the Marcoses will have a quiet celebration of Emelda's 95th birthday with family and friends. Yes, there is a celebration, but it's a quiet celebration with family and friends, the PCO told reporters through Viber. Imelda, widow of dictator and ex-president Ferdinand Marcos Sr., was found guilty of 7 counts of theft by the Sandiganbayan's 5th Division in 2018, but was not arrested due to her health and age. And now for the West Philippine Sea coverage, Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo and Vatican Foreign Minister Archbishop Paul Gallagher agreed on Tuesday that international conflicts like the rising tension in the West Philippine Sea should be resolved peacefully and in accordance with international law. The two met during a bilateral meeting in Manila where they discussed strengthening cooperation on various issues where the Philippines and the Holy See make common cause. According to Manalo, among the topics that they discussed were regional and international issues, including developments in the West Philippine Sea, Ukraine, and Gaza. Manalo said both he and Gallagher shared the same perspective that all conflicts should be resolved peacefully on the basis of the rule of international law. We noted our shared perspective that amid the various international challenges and conflicts, The international community must be united in preserving a world where differences are resolved peacefully on the basis of the rule of international law, said Manalo. The two also discussed about the proposed agreement on higher education between the Philippines Commission on Higher Education and the Holy See's Dicastery for Culture and Education, which will allow for mutual recognition of degrees which will benefit Filipino press and nuns pursuing further studies in different as ecclesiastical and Catholic educational institutions of the Holy See. We are committed to working towards the conclusion of the MOU or Memorandum of Understanding, said Manalo. Manalo and Gallagher also talk about their advocacy on migration governance, stressing the importance of safe migration pathway or migration pathways and the human treatment of all migrants, and further cooperation on interfaith dialogue. Furthermore, the two shared similar positions on climate change and climate resilience. The Philippines share His Holiness' call for the urgent to work together to address the climate crisis. We look forward to close collaborations in this area with the Holy See, said Manalo. Manalo noted that his continued exchange with Gallagher started in Munich in 2023 and serves as a testament to the joint commitment of the Philippines and the Holy See to advance and strengthen our relations. In the other news now, the Alliance of Concerned Teachers thinks Senator Sonny Angara is a much improved choice for the education department compared to Vice President Sara Duterte. The group's statement follows a palace announcement on Angara's appointment as the new education secretary. Duterte resigned as deputy chief last June 19. She was silent about the reason for her resignation but explained that her decision was not a sign of weakness. The vice president said her action was driven by compassion for teachers and students. ACT also recalled that Angara, in the past, had accepted the request for dialogues and sought their input on relevant education issues during his term as senator. Needless to say, being a lawmaker who enjoys some level of autonomy is far different from being a cabinet member who is beholden to the wishes of the president, it said. ACT hopes that Senator Angara will remain to be amicable, different from his red-taker predecessor, it added. The emission of harmful sulfur dioxide (SO2) from Taal volcano in Batangas has subsided, the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology (PHUVOLS) reported on Tuesday, July 2. Only 2,160 metric tons of SO2 from the volcano's main crater was measured over the past 24 hours. This rose to 900 meters above Taal Volcano Island, the volcano's crater landmass locally known as Pulo that sits within Taal Lake before drifting to the west-southwest direction, the PHUVOLS report said. The emission level dropped from 6,571 metric tons of toxic gas locked from 228 to 30. The state volcanologist said no volcanic earthquake was recorded during the monitoring period. On Saturday, June 29, two erratic events occurred briefly at Taal Volcano. The state volcanologist said in its advisory that the weak erratic activity is likely driven by the continued emission of hot volcanic gases at the Taal main crater and could be succeeded by severe events. The background levels of volcanic earthquake activity and ground deformation detected at Taal indicate that unrest is unlikely to progress into a magmatic eruption, it added. Taal volcano erupted in January 2020, more than 4 decades after its previous eruption, setting hundreds of thousands fleeing from within the 40-kilometer radius of the volcano. Taal volcano remains under alert level 1, low level of volcanic unrest, which means that erratic eruptions, volcanic earthquakes, thin ash fall, and hazardous gas emissions may occur, PHUVOLS said. The agency reminded that the public that Taal volcano continued to display an abnormal condition and should not be interpreted to help cease unrest nor cease the threat of eruptive activity. And for the cold weather forecast this afternoon, intense rain showers are expected to be experienced in Metro Manila and other areas in Luzon on Tuesday, according to the State Weather Bureau. In a 1:14 p.m. advisory, the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Service Administration, PAGASA, said heavy to intense rain showers with lightning and strong winds will be experienced in the metropolis. The places also include Bulacan, Rizal, Cavite, Bandaca, Zambales, Tarlac, Nueva Ecija, and Laguna. PAGASA said such weather will persist within 2 hours. Meanwhile, moderate to heavy rain showers with lightning and strong winds are expected over Pampanga within the next 2 hours from the release of the advisory. On Monday, fair and warm weather was forecast nationwide since no tropical cyclones were expected to form or enter the Philippine area of responsibility in the next few days. Coming up on koolNews at 4, PNP reassigns 6 police officials. Senate bill pushes 24/7 operations for government infrastructure projects. DepEd welcomes Angara's appointment as Education Secretary. And senators say that Angara appointment as DepEd chief is well deserved. And Solon tells new DepEd chief Sonny Angara hit the ground running. And finally, UE welcomes free college entrance exam law for qualified students. koolNews at 4 p.m. will return after these messages. We will be right back. It is now 4:17 in the afternoon. Once again, stick around. We will be right back. Welcome back to koolNews at 4 p.m. You're still with us right here as we continue with the headlines. With the Philippine National Police has reassigned six ranking police officials effective on Tuesday, July 2. The reorganization is in line with PNP Chief General Romel Marbel's order dated July 1st. Below is the list of police officers and their new assignment based on the order. Lieutenant General Jonel Estomo, Commander of Area Police Command, Sergeant Luzon, Major General Bernard Banat, Acting Commander APC Western Mindanao, Major General Mafalino Bazar, Office in Charge, Directorate for Information and Communications Technology Management, Brigadier General Roderick Augustus Alba, Officer in Charge, Directorate for Police Community Relations, Brigadier General Jerich Royas, Deputy Director for Human Resource and Doctorate Development, and Brigadier General Neri Vincent Ignacio, Deputy Director for Controllership. In the press briefing, PNP spokesperson Colonel John Farjado said the reshuffle came after the retirement of some senior police officials. If you remember, the director of DICTM, or Directorate for Information and Communications Technology Management of LSS, known as Logistics Support Service, has retired, and more senior police officers are scheduled to retire this week, she said. So we need to fill out these vacancies, so there was a reshuffle, she added. Senator Grace Paul has filed a bill that seeks to require around-the-clock operations for government infrastructure projects to avoid wastage of funds and to maximize the benefits these projects will bring. Paul on Tuesday said she filed Senate Bill number 2716, or the proposed Accelerated Infrastructure Delivery Act, which will require round-the-clock operations for priority projects of the national government, local government units, and government-owned and controlled corporations. If enacted, the measure will cover the construction, repair, and maintenance of roads and bridges. By working tirelessly day and night, we will expedite the completion of critical infrastructure projects, reducing delays, and as a result, accelerating benefits to our communities, most especially the commuting public who needs it the most, Paul said in the bill's explanatory note. The measure will also ensure that our country will not incur any more penalties and purchase construction materials at terribly inflated prices due to such delays. The millions of pesos that we will save through this policy can be reallocated to the government's public service programs where they can make the most difference, she added. According to Paul, contractors who implement the 24/7 working schedule will be given incentives. Contractors and implementing agencies will be required to coordinate with each other in formulating an efficient schedule that is safe for workers. Agencies that would not participate in the proposed system can be penalized by lowering their next year's budget. Negligent contractors may be barred from participating in future government bidding procedures. The proposed law aims to turn the Philippines into a leader in infrastructure development, showcasing our country's ability to innovate, adapt, and adjust with the shifting tides, Post said. It sends a clear message to the world. Our country is open for business, and we have the infrastructure to prove it, she added. At the House of Representatives, a similar measure was filed by ACT-CIS Party List Representative Erwin Tufo and other lawmakers. House Bill number 9666, or the proposed Accelerated Infrastructure Development Act of 2023, also seeks to require 24/7 operations for government infrastructure projects. Under the proposed measure, implementing agencies will be tasked to ensure that suitable working schedules for workers will be adopted with a minimum of 3 shifts in a day. Bicol Saron Party List Representative Brian Raymond Yamsuan on Tuesday said House Bill number 9666 also seeks to address the traffic woes caused by infrastructure projects near all along major thoroughfares. The country's city centers have experienced traffic congestion, which is sometimes exacerbated by ongoing construction projects. Studies have given staggering estimates about how much income is lost due to Metro Manila's traffic congestion. In 2014, the Japan International Cooperation Agency said Metro Manila's traffic jam was costing the Philippine economy 2.4 billion pesos per day in potential income, which can balloon to 6 billion pesos a day by 2030. In 2018, GICA updated figures that noting that money lost due to traffic congestion was 3.5 billion pesos per day. Just recently, motorists have complained about the closure of the Kamuning flyover along Epifancio de los Santos Avenue's southbound lane in Quezon City, which is under construction. The closure has forced private vehicles moving along the southbound lane to go through the narrow service road, which links to Timok Avenue, East Avenue, and the Camillas Road intersection. And good news for good news for DepEd. The Department of Education DepEd said it is looking forward to working with newly appointed Education Secretary Senator Sonny Angara. Angara will replace Vice President Sara Duterte as the new Education Chief, as announced by the palace on Tuesday. We welcome Senator John Edgardo Sonny Angara to the Department of Education DepEd, it said. The DepEd community looks forward to working with the new leadership as we continue our relentless pursuit towards improving the quality of basic education in the country, DepEd added. Reporters have telephoned the office of the Vice President for a comment regarding Angara's appointment, but have not yet received a response. She did not provide a specific reason for her resignation, but explained that her decision was not a sign of weakness and was driven by compassion for teachers and students. Meanwhile, in a separate statement, the Education Reform Advocacy Group Philippine Business for Education expressed optimism that Angara's experience will enhance the government's ability to address education issues effectively. In the related news, Senator Sonny Angara's appointment as Secretary of Education is well deserved, as he is very qualified for the post, his colleagues at the Senate said Tuesday. Senate President Francis Chis Escudero expressed his compliments for Angara as he wished him all the best in his new endeavor. Angara is set to take the helm of the Department of Education DepEd on July 19. My heartfelt congratulations to Senator Angara for a well-deserved appointment. His task ahead is gargantuan, and I wish him well, the Senate chief said in his statement. Senate Majority Leader Francis Tolentino said Angara is very qualified as DepEd chief, but lamented the loss of a legal mind in the upper chamber. I am sure he will do a good job as DepEd secretary with his EdCom, Congressional Commission on Education background and familiarity with current issues. The Senate will lose another legal mind as a consequence, he said in another statement. Like Tolentino, Senator Joel Villanueva expressed his sadness over Angara's departure from Senate to become the education leader, especially since he also regarded him as his basketball partner. Senator Sonny's appointment promised to uphold and build upon the transformative legacy of his father, the late Senator Edgardo Angara, who pioneered significant reforms in our education sector, notably through his efforts at EdCom 1, Villanueva said. Senator Roman Bon Reval Jr. meanwhile assured Angara of the Senate's support in efforts to improve the country's education. We will continue to work together for the betterment of the education sector in the country. Sonny, you have our full support, Revilla said in a separate statement. Senator Joseph Victor J.V. Ejercito remarked that Angara was an excellent choice for the cabinet position. With his extensive educational background and commitment to public service, Senator Angara is an excellent choice for his crucial role. I am confident that his leadership will bring significant positive changes to our education system, Ejercito said. For Senator Juan Subiri, even if the Senate lost an invaluable member, the country gained an excellent champion. The Senate is losing an invaluable member, but the nation, and especially our children, is gaining an excellent champion. I wish Secretary Sonny all the best, and I look forward to how he will improve the education landscape of our country in the coming years, he said. Senator Malordes Nancy Binay said the upper chamber will miss Angara's breadth of knowledge, especially on matters of finance and law. However, Senator Sharon Kachilan believed Angara would bring more innovation to the DepEd. As a lifelong education champion, former chairperson of the Senate Committee on Finance and a commissioner of the Second Congressional Commission on Education, he will bring to the department the expertise and leadership needed to usher the in needed reforms and foster innovation in the basic education sector, Kachilian said in a statement. Said in a statement. Angara will replace Vice President Sara Duterte, who resigned as Education Secretary on June 19. Meanwhile, lawmakers from the majority and minority blocs of the House of Representatives welcomed Senator Sonny Angara's appointment as the new Department of Education Deputy Chief. They believe Angara will bring to the department his vast experience. House Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez said on Tuesday Angara's public service record makes him a good choice for the vacant post. We are pleased to welcome the appointment of Senator Juan Edgardo Sonny Angara as the incoming Secretary of the Department of Education, Romualdez said in a statement. Senator Angara's extensive experience, unwavering dedication, and exemplary public service make him an outstanding choice for his crucial role, he noted. Although throughout his career, Senator Angara has demonstrated a profound commitment to enhancing our educational system and championing out our students' and teachers' rights and welfare, the speaker pointed out. His impressive background and notable legislative work and education policy achievements equipped him with the expertise needed to lead the DepEd with excellence, he added. Pasig City Representative Roman Romulo said in a separate online interview that he thinks Angara is aware of the challenges in the education sector. Romulo heads the House Committee on Basic Education and Culture. I wish him the best of luck because I and Senator Sonny were together at EdCom 2, Second Congressional Commission on Education, and before in Congress. So I'm sure he is aware of the challenges ahead, he told reporters. As I said, the position of a cabinet post is really a position of trust by the president, he emphasized. So whoever the president thinks is fit for that position, I think we all should support, especially if it will help ensure now that for education, the reforms needed will be implemented, he said. ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz Castro meanwhile dared Angara to address the problems immediately. These issues include the demands of teachers and other education support personnel, like reviewing the K-12 program and improving working conditions. While it is good that a new DepEd secretary has been named, we challenged Senator Sonny Angara to hit the ground running and immediately address the education crisis in our country, as well as the long-standing demands of teachers and education support personnel, Castro said. We urge the new secretary to face the challenges and problems of the K-12 program head-on and overhaul the system, she told the new education secretary. And the University of the East on Tuesday welcomed the passage of a law waiving college entrance fees for qualified indigent students, as it underscores a commitment to prioritizing the future of children. Republic Act No. 12006, or the Free College Entrance Examinations Act, lapsed into law on June 14. UA lauds the passage of the law, making the college entrance tax-free for deserving poor students. For many of our youth, a free college entrance exam could be the ticket not just to a college education, but also out of poverty into better lives, UA President Zosimo Montemayor Batat said in a statement. Under the law, a graduating high school student can be eligible for a free college entrance exam in private higher education institutions, given that he or she meets certain requirements. He or she should be a natural-born Filipino citizen, belonging to the top 10% of his or her graduating class, coming from a family whose combined household income falls below the poverty threshold based on guidelines from the National Economic and Development Authority, or cannot afford to provide for minimum basic needs duly certified as such by the Department of Social Welfare and Development. Waiving the entrance fee is putting our resources to things we value most, our children's education and future, but that's stressed. The university held its entrance exam for aspiring freshmen last March 7 and 8. Bata noted that UE has already been holding an open house in its Manila and Caloocan campuses to give college students the chance to take the test without cost even before the law was passed. Just give me a second. Okay, there you go. Still to come. PNP forms team to probe into missing beauty till bed finance. Marcos should break his silence on Pongos according to lawmakers. In West Philippine coverage, China cries fool as PCG bolsters presence of Sabina Shoal. Is Duterte liable for hiding info on Cupolis location? PNP moves. Marcos okays 6.352 trillion pesos national expenditure program for 2025. And in business news, Jollibee buys Korea's Compose Coffee for $340 million. And in international headlines, dollar strengthens as bets on Trump presidency rise post-debate. We will be right back for Cool News at 4 p.m. It is now 4:42 in the afternoon. You're still with us right here on koolNews at 4 p.m. A special investigation task group (SITG) was created to solve the case of Pampanga missing beauty pageant candidate and her Israeli finance, the Philippine National Police said on Tuesday. In a press briefing, PNP spokesperson Colonel Juan Farjado said the formation of the task group, Genus Arc, followed an order released by PNP Chief General Rommel Marbel. If you remember, we previously created a committee on missing persons to focus on this case. The chief PNP has been ordered to create a SIDG and the CIDG, which is leading to the investigation, Farjado said, and she added. Aside from the CIDG, the SIDG will consist of personnel from the Anti-Cybercrime Group, Highway Patrol Group, and Forensic Group. These developments come after the PNP identified several persons of interest possibly linked to the alleged disappearance of Mutya ng Pilipinas, Pampanga 2024 candidate Geneva Lopez, and Yitzhak Cohen. Authorities also found another vehicle possibly linked to the case along Barangay Tipak, Tarlac City. Police said the two met a middleman in Tarlac to check the 20.5-hectare agricultural land they intended to buy. They were last seen around 2 p.m. on June 21, while the gray Nissan Terra sports utility vehicle was found burning along the Capas San Jose Road in Cristo Rey Village at 2:36 a.m. on June 22. Further investigation showed that the middleman was a former policeman previously assigned to the Angeles City Police Station and was dismissed from service. Before these actions, authorities had examined what seemed like a burned cell phone or tablet found inside the SUV. However, Capas Police Chief LT Colonel Ribrado Maranang Jr. said the mobile gadget, a cell phone, was brought to the regional anti-cybercrime police in Camp Olivos and San Fernando, Pampanga for forensic investigation. But data could no longer be achieved from the gadget because it was completely burned. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and his administration must state their stand on Philippine offshore gaming operators POGOs amid calls to ban these in the country due to the social costs, two lawmakers said on Tuesday. Senator Rizal Diveros and Surigao del Norte Second District Representative Robert A. Barbers on several occasions said the administration must break its silence about POGOs as investigations showed that many POGOs are linked to human trafficking rings, kidnapping, prostitution, and even torture. According to Hontiveros, if Marcos can talk about the West Philippine Sea, he should speak even more about POGOs. I really don't know what he's waiting for, as Marcos said that POGOs are only generating 5 billion pesos despite their rosy promises before. They owe a lot in terms of taxes, and then when you put into the balance of all the social and non-political costs of POGO, it seems that it does not have any benefit. It's only about the cost to the Philippines, Hontiveros said in Filipino during an interview on ABS-CBN News channel's Head Start. If he can vocally push back against China on the West Philippine Sea, why does it seem like he is dragging his feet when it comes to POGOs? Or is he waiting for a better time? Is he waiting on something but there are already still Senate committee investigations done on it? So, what is the president waiting for? She added. Barbos echoed the same sentiments. The social cost of this industry was proven to be so high that it is not commensurate with the revenues that we are getting, so we should have a strong position about this, Barbos said in Filipino when asked in a press briefing on whether the administration should start speaking about POGOs. The administration should already start talking about this, he added. In October 2022, then Press Undersecretary July Garafil said Marcos was closely monitoring issues on POGOs. In January 2023, Marcos said he was not rushing to ban POGOs despite suggestions by some groups, noting that the crackdown should be against illegal POGOs because legal operators pay taxes. However, last March 13, 371 Filipinos and 497 foreigners were rescued from a illegal POGO in Bamban Tarlac, which was raided for alleged involvement in human trafficking. The POGO was linked to suspended Bambang Mayor Alex Guo. The Department of the Interior and Local Government DILG accused the local chief executive of having business interests in Balfour Land Development Incorporated. Balfour owns the land where the raided POGO sits. The DILG said Balfour, as represented by Guo, who was president of the company, purchased 8 parcels of land in Bonbon in February 2019. Guo said she divested ownership of Baofu, but the DILG believed the amount she divested for 2.5 million pesos was grossly incongruent to her investment on Baofu, which was approximately 8 hectares of land. Senators believe Guo's real identity was that of Chinese national Guo Huaping, as the National Bureau of Investigation confirmed that the fingerprints of the two personalities matched. There are proposals to ban pogo in the country. Last June 11, Makabayan bloc lawmakers filed House Bill No. 10525, or the proposed Anti-Pogo Act of 2024, which seeks to revoke the license and ban future pogos due to the social costs they bring. Continuing our West Philippine Sea coverage, Escoda R. Sabina show in the West Philippine Sea showed the presence of 3 more Philippine Coast Guard ships, a move which was met with suspicion from Beijing, which repeatedly accused Manila of establishing a facility there. Comrade J. Tarella, PCG spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, said 44-meter multi-rope response vessels joined BRP Teresa Macbanwa on Monday. The BRP Teresa Macbanwa has been deployed in Escoda Shoal since April, following suspected reclamation activities in the area. It was truly an exceptional occurrence in the West Philippine Sea yesterday, as 4 PCG vessels were nestled together, creating a remarkable sight, Tarella said in a post on X, formerly Twitter, on Tuesday. Tarella said the 3 MRRVs with hull numbers 4402, 4404, and 4409 cast off Escoda Shoal after successfully completing the resupply missions at various maritime features in West Philippine Sea before heading back to port. However, Chinese state tabloid Global Times, citing on-image sites or on-site images, reported that aside from transporting freshwater, fuel, and food, one of PCG's MRRV also attempted to deliver suspected building materials like cement to BRP Teresa Macbanwa. This series of actions by the Philippines warrants high vigilance, the Global Times stated in its report on Tuesday, further citing experts who said that the country appears to be building a maritime base off the shore. Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad, Philippine Navy spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea, shook off the accusations of the Chinese state tabloid. "We can't do anything that we wish to within our exclusive economic zone," Trinidad said in a regular press conference on Tuesday. Trinidad, without confirming or denying such claims, also said these are actions that the Philippines will pursue if and when necessary. Sacrifice it to say, we will continue assuring the integrity of our territory, he also said. The Philippine National Police will study if former President Rodrigo Duterte may or may not be held liable for obstruction of justice after claiming he knows but won't tell the whereabouts of fugitive televangelist Apollo Kibuloy. PNP spokesperson Colonel Jen Farjado said they are withholding their comment on the matter for now, pending their assessment of the context of Duterte's remarks. The police official pointed out, "I have to look into the context of what he said. I need to talk to those he spoke to. Did he say this to tease the person in front of him? Or just a joke? We need to get the context of the conversation because a person who knows the whereabouts of what the person may be held liable for obstruction of justice." But again, we want to reserve our comment because the PNP lawmakers will first study if those statements may constitute obstruction of justice or just simple words taken out of context. We are cautious in giving judgment until we can investigate. However, based on media reports over the weekend, Duterte told reporters in an abashed interview in Tacloban City, "Maybe pastor doesn't want to surrender, so just hide. But if you ask where the pastor is, I know. I know where the pastor is, but it's a secret." And President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. approved the proposed 6.352 trillion pesos national expenditure program for fiscal year 2025, said the palace on Tuesday. According to the Presidential Communications Office in a statement, Marcos approved the 2025 NEP during a cabinet meeting at the Mandalcan Palace, where Budget Secretary Amen Pagkadaman presented the proposed national budget for 2025. Marcos' directives and policy guidance for the NEP include prioritizing food security, social protection, healthcare, housing, disaster resilience, infrastructure, digital connectivity, and energization. You see a really good thing, Marcos was quoted by the PCOs as saying in the meeting. Since I have seen it before on the macro level, I think the priorities in terms of our proposed appropriations upon addressing it, we are priorities properly in terms of appropriations, he added. Now, and here are the top stories for this hour. Jollibee buys Korea's compost coffee for $340 million. And dollar strengthens as bets on Trump presidency rise post-debate. And that is it for koolNews at 4 p.m. As always, we will be back with more headlines later with koolNews at 6 p.m. and koolNews Prime Time at 9 p.m. Until then, I am Asper and this has been koolNews at 4 p.m. Good afternoon.